2. You didn't see there though, Good morning, Magic players and card collectors of all kinds, and welcome back to 100. We are still, of course, working on our Cody Vociferous Codex deck, which is actually our Maze's End deck, because that is the one in our 1 to 100 this time around. The commander just happens to give us access to all the mana we needed. I'm really liking how this deck is starting to shape up, guys. I really am. Right now, there are 37 cards accounted for, there are 67 cards accounted for in the deck, including 2 optional enchantments, and a couple of lands that might get switched out in terms of basics depending on how many instants and sorceries of different colors we use. Right now we are playing with 2 mountains, 3 swamps, 3 plains, 4 forests, and 4 islands as our basics, if I remember correctly. There might be 5 forests and 5 islands. I'm just going to quickly double check that, but I think it was 4. Yes, it's 4. So I might end up switching the mountains to being 3 and dropping the swamps or the plains to 2, possibly, or something like that, depending on how we choose our instants and sorceries. In our last episode, we opened the first pack. Oh no! As I was saying, in our last episode, we cracked the first pack of our really cool land bundles that we got from Shomenuchi. Shout out to Shomenuchi. And we are going to crack the second pack today, before the end of this episode. We also covered the sorceries that we are potentially going to use, and the sorceries that we're pretty sure we're going to use. So, we're going to go over all that real quick before we get into the instants. And today we're going to go more hardcore into the instants. Last time we kind of flipped through them real quick, but we didn't really go over them thoroughly enough to exclude certain ones. Today we're going to try and cut some stuff down, because we want to get this deck finished up either this episode or in the next episode. And the goal is to find 33 sorceries and instants for this deck, so that is a lot of options. So that is pretty cool. That I don't normally have that many options in a deck. I'm usually leaning more towards permanence. I prefer having permanence than having interaction, to be perfectly honest. That's just the way I play, though. And that's not for everybody. So last time, like I say, we got this really cool promo in the pack, which thankfully did not get damaged when I just dropped them. And then we got all these really nice full arts. So we're just going to look at those real quick, as well as the non-full arts, which are also very beautiful. And then the bundle that we're going to look at today is all the non-holo ones, but we will look at those at the end and get some more art appreciation going for those. But in the meantime, in between time, right now, we're going to look at this. This is the pile of sorceries we cut last time, which is pretty insanely good. There was a couple instants in there, but not very many that we cut. Mostly it was sorceries, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, maybe we did cut a lot of instants last time. I'm guessing there was a lot of doubles, maybe. Anyways, these are the sorceries we're going to pretty much guaranteed to be running. We're going to probably be running Macabre Waltz, because it's really cheap, gets me 2 creature cards back from my graveyard. I have to discard a card, that's not a big deal. I'm going to have a bunch of extra lands probably to kick about to do that with. Disentomb is another one that's going to get me a creature back from my graveyard to my hand. Mainly both of these are in here so I can get 9 eyes, I think it is? Let's just double check real quick, because I can't remember for sure if that's what her name is, but I think it is. Where are you, Miss Keen? Yes. Oh, 9 fingers, not 9 eyes. Sorry. 9 fingers Keen. We want to get her back onto the field as often as possible, so that's why both those are in there. We have Seek the Wilds. Look at the top 4 cards, reveal a creature or land, put them into your hand. Can get me either 9 fingers or get me a gate card. This will let me get 3 cards back from my graveyard into my library. So again, another way to get 9 fingers Keen back. Top 3 cards of your library, reveal creature or land, put it into your hand. Land, non-land, reveal cards into your reveal the card of your chosen type, put that into your hand, rest on bottom of your library. These are all just ways for me to get some lands so that I can thin out my deck faster and get to where I need to. I like this one in particular because it gives me a massive token if I'm willing to pay both costs. And then Explore is just nice because you can play an additional land on your turn plus draw a card, so you could actually play 2 gates in 1 turn with that one, which is kind of nice. These are our optional cards that we're still not sure which ones we're going to play yet. We're going to either do Humble Defector or Dark Tutelage, one of the 2. And then we're going to do either Archmage of Ruins or Student of Ojutai, one of the 2. Now there is a solid chance that we could potentially put both these in and neither of these, but I don't see a world where I'm putting both these in and not these 2. Because I like the fact that this one reduces the cost of my instants and sorceries. The only reason I'm not going to possibly include this is if I have a lot of really low cost instants and sorceries, and it's probably not worth including him. But the fact that you get to draw a card as well when you get an instance or sorcery is pretty nice. And then this one is just beautiful for all the instants and sorceries being in my deck. I'm going to gain 2 life every time I play one, so I mean, it almost feels like a solid include. Plus both those are extra creatures, which I don't have a lot of creatures in this deck, so I'm leaning towards including both of those. However, with Humble Defector, I'm going to be able to do the 2 card thing, which is kind of nice, as long as somebody's actually willing to give it back to me regularly. And Dark Tutelage guarantees me a card each turn, it's just it might cost me a whole bunch of life, depending on how expensive that mana cost is. Both these, though, I could see cutting, because if I have too many high-cost things in here, I don't want to necessarily take that much damage. And this one, I'm just really nervous about the fact that I'm probably not going to get it back, to be perfectly honest. Once people realize what I'm trying to do with this deck, I have a feeling that as soon as I give away my Humble Defector, I'm not getting it back anytime soon. So it kind of feels like it's a waste space to put that one in. The Dark Tutelage feels a little bit better than the Humble Defector, but again, depending on mana value, it might be too costly for me to include. Whereas this is always giving me a card draw per turn if it's out, because I'm definitely going to be playing at least 1 instant or sorcery per turn, probably. And that's going to give me 2 life for the same reason, so I'm kind of leaning towards using both those instead of these 2. And then, like I say, I took out 3 lands for now. I'm not sure which of these 2 I'm going to include. It's going to depend entirely on how many instants and sorceries are in which colors. So, yeah. In fact, you know what? I've decided. I've talked myself into it. I'm not going to play Dark Tutelage or Humble Defector. I am going to run the other 2 cards. I think they are the better choices. If, by chance, I have way too many low-cost instants and sorceries, and I don't feel that I'm going to get the benefit of both of these things, I might switch this one out. But again, 3/6 is a pretty solid body, too. These are the maybe sorceries. So I'm going to leave those in the second slot, because a lot of these probably will not make it in, but a few probably will, depending on how many instants we include. Playful Shove deals 1 damage to any target, draw a card. I'm basically including these ones for card draw. Divination, 2 cards. That one I'm including because it helps Keen do battle damage, which will let me trigger her ability. Another card draw one. Exile an artifact or enchantment, gets rid of something that might be troublesome to prevent me from losing because, say, my Maze's End got exiled or something by a card temporarily. Same with this. Solid removal. That one I figure is a really funny way to win the game, potentially, because if I'm on the verge of winning it and I'm also on the verge of losing it, I can wipe out everything except for the lands, which is all I need to actually win. So I'm really liking that one. This is probably one that I'm going to include, to be perfectly honest. Extinction Event, I'm less likely to include that one. I liked it for similar reasons to this one, but I think that this one is probably less effective in this deck. Read the Bones, scry 2, draw 2 cards. That's another draw one. In fact, I'm going to put that one down. I've decided. Surveil, draw 2, lose 2, draw. So these are, like I say, a lot of draw spells. Another one that will let me return a creature from my graveyard to my hand and draw. So That's why it's kind of sitting over here and not already in the pile with the other ones. Although, to be honest, I think I'm just going to slip that over there now and make it 10 officially. Another draw one. Another destruction one. That one's kind of nice because it lets me get back any permanent, which can even include a land if I needed it to. So I think that I'm probably going to run that one. And then Rise and Fall. I've talked before about how much I like this old school sorcery. I think it's just a really funny one to play. But I'm probably going to not include that one, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to turn that one down now. So I'm going to leave these over here for now because I don't know which ones I'm going to include and which ones I'm not going to include. But I am going to put the Return to the Witch King in here, along with the Recover, the Macabre Waltz, and the Disentomb, because I think those are just too good. And I think we need some stuff that'll let me get stuff back if I need it. So that gets me some cards, that gets me a permanent, that gets me a creature, and creature. So, yeah. Anyway, that brings us to 11 sorceries total, which means we are down to 22 potential instants to complete this deck. And we have quite the stack of instants. Now, like I say, we might use some of those sorceries that are in the maybe pile, depending on how we do with these instants. But we'll go through this pile, and we'll start doing the same thing we did last time with the sorceries, where we're just going to cut yes, no, depending on how it looks. Protection is pretty decent. So Snakeskin Veil is nice because it's going to give me a +1/+1 counter, give my creature hexproof until end of turn. It would be kind of a good one to put in there for Keen, potentially. I'm going to leave it as a maybe for now, though, because I think it would be better if there's something that gives her indestructible as well. And I'm sure there are some. Trample, definitely a good idea to include. Same with Wild Size. That one's going to cost me 2 more, but it gives her +2/+2 in addition to the Trample. And we still get to draw the card. I like those. So I'm tempted to run those. I'm going to put those into the maybe with the sorceries for now. Anything that I'm really tempted to run, I'm going to put into there. For now, the rest of the stuff's going to go to the back. Snakeskin is kind of a maybe, so it's going to go to the back unless I see something better come up. And if we get back around to Snakeskin, then it'll get dumped in here. Destroy Artifact, destroy Enchantment, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard, draw a card. I do love Heritage Reclamation. I'm not going to say I don't. Do have another card or two in here that are already doing that kind of thing, so I think we'll put that up against the sorcery that's dealing with some enchantments and artifacts as well. Regenerate target creature, that could be really good for 9 Finger Skeen. I gotta stop saying 9 eyes. 9 Finger Skeen. Yeah, we'll leave it in the back for now. Prevent all combat damage that will be dealt this turn. That's gonna shut me down though too, so I think I'm gonna turn that one down. Overprotect. See, this is the kind of thing that I should probably put in for 9 eyes Keen. Damn it, 9 Fingers Keen. I will eventually get that right. I'm going to put that over here in the maybe pile immediately right now. Search your library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. Cost 2 and a green. We already have a bunch of stuff doing that in there. We might replace one of the sorceries with that though, so... Oop, I put that in the wrong spot. I'm going to put Overprotect over here, but I'm going to put this one over here because I'm going to look at the sorceries. I might remove one of them in exchange for the instant. Just because it might be nice to be able to do that on an opponent's turn, and then I get the extra mana on my turn. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn, scry 1. Doesn't necessarily guarantee me combat damage, so I'm going to turn that down. It might save 9 Fingers Keen, but it won't give me combat damage, which is what I need her to do. I'm going to turn that down too. I think I was including that mainly because of the scrying, not because of the damage it deals. Actually, you know what? We're going to put that in the maybe, because I do like the scrying on that. +3/+1 and trample until end of turn. That's pretty solid. I can go in the maybes. Whirling Strike, +2/+0, first strike and trample. Well, that should go in the maybes. Fist of Flame, draw a card until end of turn, target creature gains trample and +1/+0 for each card you've drawn this turn. Okay. Throw a Possibility, discard a card, draw 2 cards. Should be with the other draw spells, I suppose. Destroy target creature with power 3 or less. That's there to help me with Cody. Cody is power 1. So if I need to get Cody off the field for some reason, that's mainly in there for that reason. That one I like because it can hit a planeswalker that my opponent controls. So it's like a slightly better version of Murder, which is the next one behind it. I think we'll include Nasty End rather than Murder because if we sacrifice Cody, we get 3 cards. instead of 2. And we might have it. That's going to be the only one I really want to sacrifice anyways, but I'm just saying, like, I think that's a better card than having Murder in there. +2/+0 and Indestructible, that's what we were talking about before. I think that's a good one to include. +1/+0 and Indestructible, I'll include that too. Scry 2, draw 2, lose 2 life at instant speed. Ooh, but it costs 4. I'm going to turn that down because the cost is too high, I think, for that. Put a number of target creature cards from your graveyard on top of your library, you draw a card. I actually want to save that for my mono black deck. That might be a little bit better than the other one that I was originally going to use. I am going to turn that down. I think we've got better options. And I think that might work really well in my mono black deck that I'm currently touching up. Target creature gains death touch until end of turn, regenerate it. Yeah, that's pretty good. It should go in there as a maybe. Fake your own death gets you a treasure token. I'm going to save that one for another deck. Alesha's Legacy, death touch and indestructible. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. All right. But it doesn't necessarily guarantee me damage, though. I'll put it as a maybe. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on it, but costs 4 and a white. So I'm going to say no. It is instant speed. Okay, you talked me into a maybe. It's getting hot in here. I'm going to have to probably get out soon. +1/+1 counter on target creature gains lifelink until end of turn and indestructible. That's almost a guaranteed to go in. Until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+0 and first strike and lifelink. Oh, these are supposed to be over here. Actually, no, we'll leave those there for now. I'm going to say no to that one. As much as I like the lifelink, I don't necessarily need it in this deck. We need to be able to do combat damage with 9 Fingers Keen. That's what we need. Draw a card and gain 3 life. That's not bad. Death Ward lets me regenerate. We already put 1 regenerate card in there, but it doesn't hurt to have a second. Target creature gains indestructible in the turn, or destroy target creature with toughness 4 or greater. So that could destroy Cody, or it could give 9 Fingers Keen indestructible. I like that one. That's very versatile. I think that's almost got to go in. Protection from the color of your choice until end of turn, draw cards. That would let me stop like a counter spell or something from targeting 9 Fingers Keen. We'll leave it as a maybe. Negate, counter non-creature spell. Sure. Opt, why not? Keep safe, heck yes. Sinister Serpent, or Sabotage is one of my favorites. Disdainful Stroke, I'm always on the fence about including because, yeah, it's going to get rid of something that's really big, and there's no way to, like, get around it. Other than counter the counter, of course, but I'm going to say no to it. I often say no to it, to be perfectly honest. I have a lot of copies of that probably in my collection that I just never put in the decks. Memory Drain, counter target spell, and Scry 2. That's not bad, but I think I'm going to say no to it. Dig Through Time might actually be worth putting in this deck. I'll probably have a bunch of extra lands that might end up in the graveyard that I could exile to get to the top 7. We'll leave it as a maybe. Scry 2, draw 2, sure. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 4. Costs me an extra 1 over the normal counter spells, but I mean, that's not bad. Costs 2 less to cast if it targets a blue spell. Counter unless its controller pays 3. I'm going to turn that one down. Offer you can't refuse. I always hate playing this one because I don't like giving people treasure tokens unless there's a reason that I want them to have treasure tokens in that deck. Like, it's going to hurt you to have the treasure tokens because of this. So I'm going to save that for a rainy day. Memory Deluge. X is the amount of mana spent to cast a spell. Put 2 of them into your hand. The rest. It's basically another version of Delve Through Time, so that's not bad. Anticipate. Put 1 into your hand. The rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Yeah, okay. We'll put Convolute in there too for now. Eureka Moment. Draw 2 cards. Put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. That's not bad. It's a little expensive, but not bad. Gets you an extra gate in the 1 turn per turn. Counter target spell unless the controller pays 4. Then you gain 4 life. That's a decent counter spell. A little expensive at 2, a white and a blue, but... Counter target spell that targets you or a permanent you control and draw a card. Okay. New Way Forward. The next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage. When that damage was prevented this way, new word forward deals that much damage to the source's controller. You draw that many cards. I'm going to save that for a rainy day. I'm not sure what deck I want to put that in yet, but... I'm going to say no to the Snakeskin Veil. I'm going to put the Mending Touch in here because I already put the other 2 Regenerate cards. I forgot that I put it to the back. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. 44 cards sitting here in the maybe slot. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cards over here, but one of those is definitely going out. I just can't remember which one I wanted to pull. I think I'm putting Natural Connection in. What do I want to take out is the question. Valorous Stance is definitely going in. It's such a good, versatile card for that deck. Maybe Cultivate? Do I want that instead of Cultivate? No, Cultivate lets me get 2 lands, though. Yeah, no, Cultivate's way better. Tumbleweeds, Explore. You know what? I'm going to say no to the Natural Connect. I'm going to put the Natural Connection in the maybe for now, actually. So we've got 14 out of 33 picked, which means we have 19 to pick from 45 cards, which is basically a little over half. Which isn't bad. Not bad at all. But I'm getting really hot, so I'm going to take a quick break. And I'll be right back. Alright. Got out, walked around for a few minutes, came back. I'm waiting for Shoppers Drug Mart to open. That's why we're filming this today, because... side story. So, apparently in Louisville, and I apologize for the noise because it might be a little bit louder now that I have the windows open for like street noise and stuff, but in Louisville, apparently they are having inclement weather. They're experiencing possibly tornadoes or something like that, I heard. So they couldn't get the last plane off the ground this morning, so we are going to we got dismissed early, but we get the full 3 hours pay today, which is nice. I always love it when that kind of happens. And they don't make us actually stay till the bloody end. So that was a bonus, but it put me out of work at like 6:30 this morning instead of at 7:30 going on 8. So I have to wait another 20 minutes or so for the Shoppers to open. That is why we're filming today. Instead of tomorrow, which is when I originally planned to film this, to be perfectly honest. And I probably was going to not put this out until Tuesday, but I'm going to try and put this out today now instead. So, back to this. What we're going to do is I'm going to go through here and we're going to look at all the stuff that lets me do card draw first. We're going to set that stuff aside first, and we're going to try and pick out which ones we like best out of that pile. So, adding stuff to your hand is also going to count in the same way for me as card draw. So, anything that says, like, look at the top 3 cards and add 1 card to your hand, those cards are all going to go in a pile right now. And we are going to pick out the best of those cards first and go from there. The only thing I have to do is I have to be very careful not to let the wind blow any of these cards out the window while I'm putting them on my lap. So, sorry for me going a little bit slow at this point. I'm just trying to make sure my hand is available if I need to immediately put it down to prevent something from being lifted up. I think that might be it for card draw. Nope, I was wrong. All these are actually. Okay. So there is a lot of card draw spells to start with. So that was actually a good one to separate out, because we're definitely not going to include 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 card draw spells? No way. We don't need that many. I say we go 10. I think 10 is a good number because we do want to be able to add stuff. So I'm going to go through them, and if they seem like they have... We're going to now split them up into things that just do card draw versus things that have bonus abilities. And then the ones that have bonus abilities, I'm going to look at first. Costs are not bonus abilities, for the record. So if it costs me 2 life, that is not a bonus ability, but Surveil is, or Gaining Trample is. So just to explain the difference of what I'm trying to do in terms of how I'm separating this right now. Because my goal is to include a few of the card draws, but more of the ones that have abilities. Oh, scrying counts as an ability. Sorry. Technically, scrying should count. Yes. There. That one goes there. And that one goes there. Okay. I would rather have more of these than more of these. So, we're going to go through these and see if there are any of these that really jump out at us as being amazing. Divination is not bad. And I kind of like it because I think it fits the flavor of the deck to a certain extent. I like it a little more than Concentrate, to be honest. Even though Concentrate only costs me 1 extra blue pip and gives me 1 extra card, I like the flavor on this one. I like the art on this one. I think I'm going to keep that one. I'm going to say no to this one. So there's one down. Risky Shortcut. Each player loses 2 life. I like that one because it costs everybody 2 life, which is better than the one that comes up later. Oh, there isn't one later. I thought there was one that was going to cost me 2 life, but I guess that's one of the ones that scries. So that's not a bad one too. And they both cost the same except for a black versus a blue. Thrill of Possibility seems like a decent enough one if I have stuff in hand. If I don't have stuff in hand, that's probably not going to help a lot. We'll put it to the back for now. I'm definitely going to include Nasty End because that lets me get rid of Cody potentially and get an extra card. If I have to sacrifice something else, I have to sacrifice something else. But at least it's the main target is to get rid of Cody, which technically is legendary, so it's guaranteed to give me 3 cards. I'm going to say no to Dig Through Time. I don't necessarily want to have to remove cards from game if I don't have anything good in the graveyard, whereas Memory Deluge is a lot better, I think. I'm going to say no to Anticipate, because we already have a green spell in here that's doing that. Actually, the green spell in here that's doing that is a sorcery, though, isn't it? There are a couple of them, aren't there? Seek an Adventurous Impulse, yes. Abundant Harvest. You know what? I'm going to keep Abundant Harvest in, and I'm going to keep Adventurous Impulse in, but I'm going to drop Seek the Wilds for Anticipate. Because Anticipate will let me pick anything. Yeah. What one would you guys do? Seek the Wilds or Anticipate? I'm going to put those two into a maybe selection for now. One of those two is going in. I just don't know which one. What are these? Oh, those go back where they were. Okay. I like these 5. I think they're pretty decent. I don't know if I'm going to include all 5 because I do want to include a bunch of these, and we said we're going to go for 10, but Playful Shove, I'm going to say no to. I don't think we need that one. Read the Bones, Scry 2, Draw 2, Lose 2 life. Risky Research, Surveil 2. I'm going to say that Scry 2 is a little bit better than Surveil for this deck in particular, because I don't necessarily need to put things in graveyard. So Charge Through and Wild Size, I want to keep both those because giving Trample is a very valuable thing for Nine Finger Scheme. Heritage Reclamation, I'm going to put that into a maybe with one of the other ones that's dealing with artifacts and enchantments in the sorcery pile. So another one that's going to be like in a maybe fight off. Because I have a few of those in there, I believe. Don't I? Somewhere? Yeah. Well, it's going to go into a playoff with something else later on then. We'll keep it for now out here. Let's see. Fist of Flame. Creature gets trample. And cards for how many cards you've drawn. I like that. Or +1/+0 for how many cards. So it's going to be at least +2/+0. Potentially more, though. Shelter. Yeah, okay. Keep Safe, yeah. Deliberate, maybe. Scry. Damn. We seem to have a lot more card draw spells than we want to left over in our hands. Maybe we will have to add more card draw spells. Some of these are doing some pretty good stuff. I'm going to drop Read the Bones. I don't need to pay the 2 life if I'm going to be scrying and drawing stuff for Deliberate. I just get 1 less card, but that's not the end of the world. Necessarily. I think the rest of those are pretty good to include, though. Especially this one. I like this one because I get to draw 2 and put a land onto the battlefield, so it's an extra bonus land card. I might have to drop Divination because it's only giving me 2 cards. Or Risky Shortcut. You know what? We'll drop Risky Shortcut. Drop Risky Shortcut. We don't need to make everyone lose 2 life. That's fine. The rest of those, I'm kind of tempted to keep in there for now, though. So that is 3, 6, 9... 13 instead of 10, which, we'll see. Some of them do count as double things, like I say. Like, we could set aside... Like, these ones are all basically draw stuff, but also scry. But, I mean, these ones are all giving trample. That's removal. That's protection, and that's a counter spell. So, I mean, those are all worth including, I think. We'll leave that for now, though, as a potential maybe selection. Let's go to the next selection. What do we want to look for next? Let's do counter spells. That seems like the easiest one to do. The store should be opening soon, so I'm probably going to end it at counter spells, and we'll look at like regenerate and stuff like that afterwards in the next episode. And destruction stuff as well. Is that all the counter spells? Might be. Yeah, see, I didn't include very many counter spells, so I think I have to include all these. I think it would be stupid not to include all these. There's only 5 that I left in my hand, and they're all pretty decent counter spells. A couple of them are a little costly, admittedly, but, I mean, the rest are not too bad. Plus, I do have that 1 extra one as a draw spell, so that would be 6 counter spells. That's a protection spell that kind of works like a counter spell. I think that that's not bad. Okay, so if we look at it that way, leaving everything in, the lands are still 2 out of 3. So that was, if we put the lands aside, sorry, I'm just doing some quick math in my head. Put the lands aside, that was 67 cards in that bundle there. So, 67 plus however many in here, and then we just have to pick from the rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Ooh, that's actually 33 cards. We might not be able to put anything else in. So the next time we come back, we're going to have to look through all these. We're going to see which ones we like in these for removal, protection, cards that give extra trample and stuff. And we're going to have to put them up against the ones that we've picked so far and try and decide what we're going to remove, what we're going to keep. Because we ultimately can only have 33 cards chosen. But before we get out of here, I did promise you guys this. So let's do this. And one more time, a big shout out to Shomenuchi while I rip this open. Please go check out his channel if you guys get the chance to, and subscribe. He is on the rise, just like me. We're closing in on the 500 mark, guys, so please also hit subscribe for us as well if you're interested in doing so, if you like this content. We got a plains, we got an island, we got a swamp, we got a mountain, we got a forest, we got a plains, another plains, another island, a swamp, another swamp, and a mountain, another mountain. I like this one, actually. This is probably my favorite, one of my favorite mountains of all time. It's like a gorgeous, like, painting version of a mountain. And a forest, and another forest. And then I think these are just tokens or something. Yeah, they just explain to you how to play the game or something. Okay. which is cute to always have something like that in there for the bundles, because it helps people who are learning, who are just joining Magic to get interested. But definitely these are some of my favorite lands of all times. These 5 here with the like symbol. You know what they remind me of? I'm just gonna end this on like a little side story. I'm pretty old. I'm just throwing that out there. So you may be old enough to know this, or you may not. But if you are, you can relate. And when I say to you, when Pokemon first debuted, they used to start putting out like, I think they were sets of 2. You could get sets of 2 action figures with a Pokeball, and they came with like a badge a lot of the time. So they were figurines that were like this tall, and they would be like all the different types of Pokemon, like Meowth or Pikachu or whatever. And then you would get one of the 8 badges from Kanto in the pack, plus a Pokeball. And it was really cool because the badges of all the things, like the Pokeballs were made of like a kind of cheap plastic. Like if you actually squeezed hard enough, you could probably break it in your hand, which really isn't super great to give to a kid. But I mean, the figurines were nice. They were pretty solid. They're also made of plastic, but they were pretty solid plastic. Like they were a dense one that you could definitely like not break super easily. But the thing that I really loved were the badges, because the badges were like these nice like metal plated badges that were actual pins that you could put on your shirt. And I think I still have 2 or 3 of them somewhere. Either that or they ended up getting thrown out when I did that purge of toys that my dad forced me to do a few years ago, which I'm still pretty upset about, to be perfectly honest, because I have no idea what I all lost in that bin. I know I lost my Transformers collection, which was really sad, and the wrestlers I used to have. Anywho, but these mana symbols, they remind me of the badges, the way the badges looked when they came out. Especially, that's definitely the Cerulean badge. That's the one that you get from, what's her face? Erica, I think it is. When you defeat her, you get the rainbow badge, I believe it's called, but it's in the shape of a sun for some reason. The other ones aren't actual badges. Maybe that's Cinnabar? I can't remember what Cinnabar looked like, to be honest. The other 2 definitely aren't badges, but I mean, they look like the badges too to me, and they remind me of that, so I think that's why they hit home for me the most. But anywho, I'm going to stop rambling now. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this episode of 100! We will finish off the deck in the final episode next week, and then we will be starting our House of 1,000 Rooms deck, which isn't going to actually have 1,000 rooms. It'll probably have like 30 rooms, maybe, if I'm lucky. I can't remember how many enchantments I've actually pulled so far, but I've set aside one of every room that I currently own, and we're going to build that deck, and it's going to be kind of a lot of fun, I think. In the meantime, in between time though, thank you for tuning into this episode. Thank you one more time to Sho for giving me these cards, and much love to you all from Kaiba, who's at home, and myself to you in the car. Take care. Have a great Thursday. And yeah, see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.